My God, boys, that music
Incredible.
Intense.
Love that
is
intro.
something else, you know. The shoot's just, you give him some instruments, you know. Fuck, man, he can do some incredible things. Fleet Week, we are back. A special occasion here in Fleet Week lore because the whole team is together. Many have compared this squad to the modern day Brooklyn Nets. You know, you just never see them out there together. You know, you can dig deeper into that if you'd like to. I'm not going to recommend it, but if you want to, it's there. Much to discuss. It is technically pay-per-view week. You know, kind of, sort of. Depends how you view Ring of Honor, but we're coming into it here. There are some big matches set for Dynamite, but we do have to, you know, set the table here properly because Dukes and Chris are not just, you know, Fleet Week hosts this week. They're like, you know, returning from war, you know, honorable superstars, fresh off their heroics on Friday's marathon charity stream, in which they spent the evening with myself for what I believe was legitimately. I think I clipped it like 7 something hours. It was wild. Dukes, how are you and how are you feeling, pal?
I'm good. I'm refreshed. I'm ready to go. I didn't work today, so I've just been doing nothing, waiting.
Now, how has your life changed since Friday, Dukes? You know,
A lot.
yeah, I'd imagine there's been a lot of people reaching out and there's a lot of opportunities, right? Like TV spots, and
Yeah, I can't really talk about them yet, but stay tuned.
it's happening though, right? Okay, good stuff, Chris. I assume the same for you, pal. How are you?
Good. The only reason I know that today is Sunday is because there is football on today.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what day it was. Also, about Friday, I think was Friday. Was it Friday morning? I
Yes.
can't remember. There was a point where I said I have class today, and then you said really, and I said no. I was lying.
Oh,
I had class 30 minutes after we got off stream. Then I went to sleep. Then I woke up at 2:30. But we're here. We're thriving. It's Fleet Week. We're excited. Vibes are high.
okay. Seriously, what did that look like? That class, like, how bad was that, man? How rough was that?
You want to know? I don't remember. I
Yeah.
do not remember going to that class.
Oh, there you go, folks. 2 young lions that left it all in the ring. You know, blood, sweat, and tears. Tope Suicida, how are you?
Doing pretty good. Well rested.
Oh, really?
Thriving.
Yeah.
Well rested.
How was your Friday, huh?
It was pretty good.
I'm
Just
just
hung
messing
out,
around.
you know.
I'm just messing around, pal. I know you know. It's very hard. I don't think Dukes and Chris will be cool with me saying this, but like, you know, you're like the head of the vibe thing. You know, it's a lot of
Correct.
stress. You send them in when it's ready to go. So I understand. You have to reset sometimes. It is what it is. But nonetheless, we have some AEW talk to get into. An eventful week. I think the big story coming out of Dynamite was the MJF business. We don't need to talk about the segment. I promise we don't need to talk about the segment. But the conclusion of the segment, the slightly delayed but actual, I believe it's pretty much confirmed now, conclusion to William Regal's run. I guess that's starting on a slight sour note, but Regal no longer all elite. Dukes, before we even talk about the current kind of ups and downs of such a thing, how do you think people are going to remember Regal's AEW run? More specifically, how are you going to remember it
I'm
in
gonna
9
remember it
months?
very fondly,
Yes.
just because like the way he came in during Revolution was like fucking crazy. Because that match was really good, but if I remember correctly, the crowd was like kind of tired, and then
Yes.
Regal came out and they went fucking crazy. JR's call was very good. He just yelled "Hey" a lot, smacked both of them, and then the Blackpool Combat Club is like,
Yeah.
I hope it's remembered as like a legendary kind of group in AEW, although they only wrestled like 5 people the whole time.
Mhm.
It was fun.
It was, and it's certainly, in terms of sheer talent, it's up there. You know, in terms of great factions, the run itself, as you said, but you know, it will be kind of debated through time. But it was a hell of a lineup, if nothing else. It could be some great moments. The Utah moment was
Yeah.
epic. Chris, how will you remember Regal's run here in AEW?
Yeah, I'm also gonna remember it pretty fondly. the way he came in, the blood on Mox's face, him slapping Mox, turns around, slaps Bryan too.
Hmm.
That was great. I definitely am of the belief that it could have been, obviously it could have been more.
Yeah,
Um, but I'm gonna look back on it fondly. He had a good run. Him and Excalibur made for some great moments on commentary. So yeah,
absolutely.
all fun.
Absolutely. Tope, you co-signing this, or are you gonna zig where they zag, brother? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat here. When Regal first came in is when I was like really making the effort to kind of shift how I watch wrestling and not do like the classic like, oh, fantasy book what I want to have happen, and if it doesn't happen like that, then I get mad. So
Hmm.
like, while there is so much like what could be about Regal, there's also like so much that he did in less than a year. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah, 9 month run. It feels like he became a real important part of the promotion, right? It's an interesting one. I think based on the assumption, obviously everyone knows like what the deal is. Like he's probably going to be there for as long as he possibly wants to be, right, in WWE. So it's like the idea that he had this like window in between what will probably end up being around like 40, 50 years of fucking straight WWE employment. It's kind of crazy. It was fun to see him in that environment. The Excalibur stuff was tremendous, and yeah, it was a very very good time while it lasted. MJF, of course, leaves this in an interesting spot. To me, anyway, one of the most kind of intriguing elements of him as a heel champion was the idea of him being alongside Regal.
Yeah.
We were out there now, and there are some concerns on that for me personally. Um, More specifically, let's get into where this angle leaves us in terms of we assume we're headed towards MJF and Bryan Danielson in some form or fashion. My question to you, Chris, is does this do it for you, or does Brian's recent booking undercut it some for you personally, Chris? Where do you stand on MJF, Bryan Danielson with the world title?
Personally, I'm just excited that it seems like Brian's out of that last story and into something that feels more his speed, something more, at least for us, like, Brian fans, something more deserving for him. So I'm excited to see how this one plays out. I think they could, with this catalyst, they can make something interesting out of it. I am curious to see how the news of Regal leaving, like what that does to this, if anything, to the response to
Yeah,
it. Um, but I mean, the angle that they did
yeah,
to write him off was really interesting. Brian coming out, obviously having that intertwined was very interesting as well. Having like one of the main parts of that promo be MJF kind of talking shit about Brian to Regal's face, and Regal looking with this
yes.
like disapproving look on his face. For me, at least, that's when I was like, "Oh, this isn't gonna last. Like, something's going to
Hmm.
happen here." And to capitalize on it that quickly, I think it's gonna be really interesting.
Dukes, where do you stand on this? MJF and Danielson. What does it make? Where are you on it?
Yeah, I'm fired up for it. I think it's gonna be great, and I think, or I hope that we get like just full babyface Brian at least for a little bit,
Hmm.
because we
Yeah.
haven't really had that at all really since before the Hangman feud, and
Hmm.
it would feel better if Brian hadn't been. I don't want to say he's cold because his matches are still really good, but like
Right.
if he had been coming off something that wasn't 7 months long, then it would have been
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. Say he was more generally like successful with, right? Like
Mhm.
he's just kind of he's been coming up short a lot in that feud too. Tope, what do you think?
yeah, I'll go ahead and say that Danielson is pretty cold right now for me. Um,
Yeah.
and but I actually don't hate him getting the shot against MJF just because I don't know what else they could do that could heat him up that like very quickly and then get the title shot. And basically, like we know that Max isn't losing this belt, so to have
Right.
Danielson come out, it's a good notch for MJF to beat Danielson, like the best wrestler in the world. And then you intertwine the Regal feud. So like, do I wish he was a top like the top babyface like on fire going into the MJF feud? Yes, but I don't hate it, and I'm gonna enjoy the match. So
This is one of the more interesting parts to me. Reese brings up and I think it's a fair assumption that Revolution is where this match is going to be, but it's like Revolution is, I want to say it's a couple weeks into March, right?
Right.
Somewhere around, and it's like, they got something one underway this week. Like,
Yeah.
I almost want it to me in terms of timeline. It almost feels like something that could be a New Year's Smash match. But then the question would be, what the hell would be the Revolution match? Like,
Yeah.
Dukes, where do you stand in terms of timeline here? Are you on board with the assumption it's Revolution, or is that too far of a build for this thing to stretch out? What do you think?
I think it can be Revolution. I think it could also be they could do a match on TV because MJF and Punk started around this time last year, and that made it to
Mhm.
Revolution fine. So I don't know. I think you could also do. I mean, MJF and Yuta already wrestled recently, but if you want to move the Blackpool Combat Club against MJF instead of and fully remove them from Jericho, I wouldn't mind that.
Blackpool Combat Club in general is going to be interesting, right? Like what that looks like moving forward. I could see that whole thing being like splintered, or they may continue in a different form. We shall see. Good.
Could I add something? Yeah. Okay. So I think if it's gonna last until March, I think that they're gonna need something else to like be the center of the feud. Like obviously the Regal thing is cool now. It makes sense. It just happened whenever it's fresh. But I think they're gonna need to move past that into something deeper, a
Yeah.
deeper reason. Obviously the title is for the most part going to be the feud, but it's gonna be weird if like Regal is already working in WWE and the feud is still about Regal.
Yes, I would agree. I would agree. I think Joe, this could very well be what they do.
Absolutely.
Something. I think it would be important to you. You want this thing when it gets to the pay per view. You want Brian to feel hot, right? So like maybe that's the thing, and I guess you could do a deal with someone like MJF as champ where he's kind of avoiding Brian, and Brian has to earn his way. And look, we've seen MJF do this before, right? All of his pay per view cycles almost until the last one were here is a kind of bunch of hurdles for the babyface to overcome. Then the matches at the pay per view against MJF. Something of that ilk, I think, is very possible with Brian. Who those hurdles are right now, I don't know, because MJF is solo, like completely for the first time in a long time as a heel. So that will be interesting. Pay per view match wise, like Reese lays out a couple here. It's Derby at Double or Nothing, Kenny at All Out. It's a really unique spot there, and I think with MJF as champ, where because while he's obviously a top star, because this is his first go of it as world champ, it feels like there's like 10 matches we could do as TV main events that are going to be awesome. But it definitely feels like there's only a select few that you're like confident in a pay per view main event. Tope, when I say to you MJF Darby Allin, does your mind go to pay per view main event, or does it go to Dynamite special or whatever? Where do you go personally, Tope, on that?
I was just gonna say I think Darby's the Revolution match because I don't know
Wow.
if, and while I wouldn't book this, I don't know if Tony can help himself from doing the three other pillars as the three pay-per-view matches this year. Because
Yeah.
I think Jungle Boy could be up there. I don't know
Yep.
if Sammy can, but like we'll see. And I think Darby's gonna get one. And then you can do, in my ideal world, you have King win at Full Gear because that's like King's pay-per-view. Because he had the
True.
Moxley match at the first one, Punk at the
Punk.
second one, he was there, and then he had his dream match with June this one.
My God. I don't know, Dukes. Was Tope cooking there, or is you out on this?
I like it, but I feel like King should beat him at Arthur Ashe
Yeah.
and then like lose it in like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for like a long Eddie Kingston reign. I don't think it'd be as like I'm not as opposed to it as a lot of people are, but like I
Yeah.
think with MJF it's kind of perfect that it's quick.
Yeah, I get that. Where are you at on the Sammy Guevara
No,
potential? No,
I'm not in on that. I like the only one I could really see main eventing a pay per view with him is Darby, and that's because of the Sting thing. Jungle Boy is like a good like St. Patrick's Day Slam match or something like that main event. But
Yeah. Chris, what do you think about this Tope? Again, folks, you not pitch it. He said he thinks there's a good chance Tony likes the pillars idea. Chris, where do you stand on this?
Yeah, as soon as he it's not something I thought about, but as soon as he said that, I agree. I don't think Tony's gonna be able to help himself from that. I could
God.
could definitely see the Derby thing being a pay-per-view from the last one that they had.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just it's tough. I do think King is Arthur Ashe though, and I think you do
Mhm.
Hangman maybe Full Gear because you also have him. That's where you beat Kenny, right, for the title.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense too. Um, I do want King to be the guy that takes it off of him though.
It's gonna be very, very interesting. As of right now, gut feeling, who is the biggest possible match for MJF as champion? Now, again, folks, within reason here on the active roster. Now, Adam Cole can count because Adam Cole's he will be back. You know, Dukes, what name you got?
Kenny.
Chris,
Hangman.
Tope.
Kenny.
The Kenny one is such an interesting match because like they've both been there the whole time, and I've never once considered this being a potential match. Like just they
Yeah,
feel like
me
they've
too.
existed in completely different worlds. You know, I think it's Kenny as the biggest match. I'm intrigued by what that match looks like and what that program looks like.
Stylistically, that's very interesting.
Yeah, like I'm sure it'll be good. It just feels weird, right? It's like
Yeah.
I also would be very fearful of what Max's promos would look like. You know, like
Mm.
Oh no.
you've been getting the star ratings, brother. You know that kind of deal. I get the TV ratings. You know
Gonna
that
start
concerns me very much.
insulting the hair.
Oh well. Now hold on a second. Now you get me back into this kind of deal. Oracle might watch AEW again, brothers. It's good stuff. All right, let's stick with Bryan Danielson. He kicked off the in-ring portion, at least, of Dynamite with a tremendous match with Dax Harwood. Now, for those of you who watched our 24-hour stream, we did not discuss Dax Harwood much on that show, but just enough that we're going to kind of, veer, just stay aside, just for a brief conversation about Bryan himself, because we talked about then. Is your enjoyment of his work at all hindered by the kind of cold element, Tope, you alluded to a moment ago? You said he's cold for me right now. Does that take a match like this down a notch for you, or is it like when the bell rings, it's still Bryan Danielson? I'm cool. Where do you stand on that, Tope?
Yeah. As soon as he comes out, I'm still feeling it because like I know I'm gonna get a hell of a match. It's just like the general, I guess momentum is the best way to put it. Is he doesn't have that much right now.
Absolutely. Dukes, you still get fired up for the Dragon singles match? Yeah.
Yeah, the music hits, and I'm like, all right, I'm in.
Chris, I'm sure you're the same way, right? When it comes down to it, we could discuss the booking all day long. We're still Bryan Danielson, yeah?
At the end of the day, yes, on Twitter, on here, I'll be like, they need to heat up Brian. But when the music hits, when he comes out, does the little, hand thing, it's, you know what you're getting.
Absolutely. There you go. Right now, one of the other big headlines from Dynamite, perhaps the biggest thing you could argue, was the opening segment. And actually, like, I thought really, it felt fresh and exciting. And it's saying that even though we all knew, like, Hangman was coming back, obviously, but it really kind of slipped to his mind, I think, that direction, just going straight back to him and Moxley. It is easy to forget how damn hot that match was before the injury happened. I mean, that thing was like just incredible. Hangman and Moxley in Cincinnati was tremendous. So Hangman's back. They had a big brawl. They broke them up later in the show. This feels like a candidate for Winter is Coming. It feels like a candidate for one of the coming TVs. Duke, firstly, your reaction to Hangman coming back. I know he's one of your favorites. Go ahead, pal.
Yeah. Oh, I stood up. I threw my fist up. My hat flew off. My shirt disintegrated. I was so fucking fired up.
That's kind of graphic.
Throwing laughs around the house.
Your
And my
shirt
dad said,
disintegrated.
whose music is that? Then I said, it's Hangman.
That's kind of crazy, bro.
He doesn't know anybody's music. It's so funny.
But he's like Titantron thingy. He's like very distinguishable, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. But I respect it. That's your boy, man. I get it. Chris, was you like as fired up as Dukes? Was it more a surprise? That was my reaction. I mean, I've got love for him and I was fired up, but it was more like, holy shit, yeah, that's the thing they could do. It kind of had missed me in my fantasy booking brain. Chris, where was you at on that?
As soon as it happened, well, the first thing we were talking about this again. There's been so much this week. I can't remember where we talked about this, but it was like he has one of those themes where as soon as you hear the first like string of the guitar, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I know what this is. And yeah, like when he came out, I was like, oh, of course, like this happened. And then obviously, they talked about it on commentary, like, okay, Mox took him out, and the immediate brawl was awesome. So yeah, I was very excited about that. Very excited to see him back. Again, we've talked about it on here a lot, in like review shows, but the stringing it through the show
Yeah.
aspect of it is awesome. We need more of that everywhere. Like the idea that, okay, they go out the tunnels, they're gonna want to keep fighting. Like they're gonna find
Yeah.
each other,
Yeah.
and then you have to kick them out. That was awesome. I'm so excited for this feud, for what it does for both of them. Because in AEW, sometimes you see with champions, once they lose, it's like, okay, what do they do next? This is an
Mhm.
obvious next step for Mox, given what happened with him and Hangman. So I'm very excited.
One of the things that makes this such a sort of exciting direction is you're not quite sure of what this means, right? Like Moxley is fresh off losing the belt, and look, as much as it's kind of not part of the way things have set up right now, that was the second straight pay per view that ended with him losing the belt. Obviously, there's a lot of shenanigans with this one. He's obviously been booked incredibly strong, but it certainly feels like, to me anyway, Tope, like it kind of feels like the natural thing is for Hangman to win. So then you ask yourself, what does that mean for John Moxley? Tope, do you think I'm crazy, or is like it feels like Hangman's going to win this eventual match, doesn't it?
I think they go 3.
3 stars, 3 minutes, or trilogy?
You know I don't do stars. Come on.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Don't insult me like that.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I think because they can do a trilogy if they do Winter's Coming, one of the New Year shows, and then
Yeah.
they're gonna have like a special in February, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
So
My
they could just
God.
do it there, and then basically, I don't know if that leaves enough room for a Revolution build, but we've seen builds shape up in like 3 weeks. So
You could also just like do 2 and 3, right? You just keep one.
Yeah,
rather than a fresh trilogy. You could
that's
do that.
right.
It'd be easier with time too. Dukes, what do you think?
I like that a lot, actually. I've been asking, or not asking, but I've been thinking about a Mox heel turn for a long time. And I think maybe in their first match, Mox should cheat,
My God.
kick him in the dick or something like that, and then
Whoa.
and then Hangman gets him.
It does feel like when you walk the path of what happens if Moxley loses this match, heel turn feels very feasible to me, Chris. What do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting way. I do like the 3 match idea, and I think the way you do that without it getting stale is probably that. That's a really good idea to do that. And I think the door is open for that with the way that Mox kind of like mocked him at the beginning when he got in the ring. I forgot what exactly he
Yeah.
said, but something about that he's the one that took him out.
Yes.
Yeah.
The door's open there. So that's definitely an interesting way to go. And I would like to see what that looks like.
Me too. I think obviously when you look at the kind of opponents for MJF, we just did this a minute ago, right? Like I think it goes without saying that now more than ever, there needs to be like a company-wide effort to get Hangman back where he was a year ago. It certainly feels like a John Moxley move to kind of lead that missions forward, and I think this is a big, moment in time for Hangman. His title reign had some really strong matches, but for a range of reasons we do not need to explore here, he always felt kind of secondary, right? And like this is a different AEW now. It just is like it's a different thing, right? Where we're at now, it feels different, and I think kind of looking at it logically, he needs to be a big part of that new changed AEW. So this feud will kind of set the tone in that regard. The interesting about a Moxley heel turn is as much as we all just kind of talked into it, it's like fucking he's back over again as a babyface in the last couple of weeks. The finish actually worked for crowds, like he's back getting big time babyface reactions. So that part of it's kind of you get what you get, I suppose. But I still think a heel turn in the end, eventually, is a good way to freshen up Moxley. All right, let's look elsewhere here for a moment. I enjoyed Will Nightingale and Anna JAS. I thought it was better than expected. Honestly, we'll get to the vibe rater in a moment. But I enjoyed it. I guess my question would be for you fellas: which belt are you like going with as Willow's direction? Now, Chris, we'll start with you. Like, are you going she's the one to beat Jade? Are you saying there's still a long-term build to her winning the world's title? Or are you saying there was a lot of talk once upon a time about the Ring of Honor title? And I think that almost seems less like now because of how much she's on AEW TV. Chris, which way does your brain go in terms of Willow's first title? Because she feels like she's quickly on the road right now.
Right. So I do think eventually you go with the TBS title for her to start, because I think Stat is going to go after the. I think she's the when she comes back. I think she's aiming for the world title. What I would like to see, and again, this is me in my head. I would like to see Athena take it off Jade, and then Willow take it off Athena eventually. But I do think seeing Willow every week. In my head, I'm like, you need to do this now. She's so good. She's so fun. I love seeing her on my screen. It balances out the Anna Jay aspect for me on TV. So I'm always very happy to see Willow show up. So yeah, that's where that's what I would do.
Dukes, what do you think?
I'm with him.
My God.
Yeah, on like everything you said.
Even the Anna Jay burial.
Oh yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. When my dad notices you're counting your steps, it's bad.
Can we guess, folks? Yeah.
I think Willow should beat Jade in like 5 minutes.
I remember this pitch and it fucking rules, man.
Jade should just totally not take her seriously. I beat you twice already, and Willow should just fucking spinebuster, pounce, gut wrench, powerbomb. That's it.
That would be incredible. That actually rules. And you mentioned doing that as a TV main event, you have 10 minutes left and the rest of the show is just like a celebration and she does like a promo,
oh my God.
I love that stuff. I remember when Brody did it to Cody, but they had like enough time left in the show where it felt, because if this main event starts with 5 minutes left, right?
Yeah.
But they had that extended post match where he had the whole thing they did on the stage and all that stuff. It was
and you can actually do so much with Jade after that too. There's so many different directions you can go with her where she could be just shocked. She could be pissed. She could take a break and just reflect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be very interesting. I always almost like the idea of her it humbling Jade, not in a way where she's lame after that, but she has respect for Willow, and it's fucking awesome baby face, kind of friends at distance.
Yeah.
That would be fun too. Tope, you're up against it. There was a strong pitch from the lads. But do you have any kind of counter argument in terms of where you'd personally like to see Willow head in terms of the championship gold?
Willow Nightingale and Sky Blue tag team champions.
Now you're talking about the AEW World's Tag Team titles. Are they going to wrestle the Acclaim?
Yes.
The Acclaim.
Correct.
Fair. Have you considered a match with FTR for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles?
3 1/4.
Right.
Was that a star rating?
No, sir. That was a joke.
No, sir. Those are the police.
No, I agree, because I don't think Statlander is coming back to face Jade like was originally planned. I think she's gonna go more world title scene. So I love the Willow pitch. She's definitely the most her and Hayter are the most organically over in that division, I would say.
Yeah.
Definitely right now. So I'd say it would be fun if you could build up and have Revolution be it, but we will see.
There was a while ago with the running kind of theory and idea was she's going to get the Ring of Honor title in the end. I remember talking about it then on a couple of platforms. She's to me, her ceiling is she should be on TV, man. There are women who are good fits for a project on Ring of Honor who are they have kind of fundamentals, but they haven't got the act. It's I want Willow on fucking TBS every week. She could actually really get over, and I think we're kind of seeing that actually. Look, we have to be real here. The MJF segment, whether you thought of it, had a great finish, but it went on for a very long time. And then there was a Ricky Starks deal that was dovetailed with an Ethan Page promo. And seriously, Willow got the people back. It was incredible to watch. Unfortunately, we have so often seen the women's match because of lack of build and lack of television focus do the opposite. And it's fuck, Willow was out there as she got them back. It was really, really encouraging. And she's special. She really, really is. So, whatever belt, she's gonna have one soon. I'm pretty sure. Guys, we have to have a very serious conversation now because it was game 4, correct? Game 3, game 3, game 3. Yes, game 3. The Elite pulled one back, 2-1, and obviously the match was really good and all that good stuff. Who cares? I have a serious question. At what point is this much hammer too much hammer? Tope?
No.
No?
No point. At no,
no
point is
point.
it too much hammer.
If every
Ha-
match involves hammer, you're fine with it.
If they change the name of the promotion to All Elite Hammers, I think that didn't work as well as I thought it would. But I'd be fine with that.
They just stopped.
I think
wrestling.
all hammer wrestling was way
Yeah.
more natural, but you do.
I've seen that was where he was going.
Either way,
It changes
either
the whole
way.
thing.
Either way, I mean,
There's not even any wrestling anymore. It's just hammers, man. It's fucking. Man, you're all in on the hammer. All right, okay. I'm just getting a read on this. Chris, where do you stand on the hammer? Too much hammer? What do you think? Not enough hammer?
Not as high on the hammer.
All right.
I do think that the first time cool, second time understood. This time was like, okay, we're leaning into it a little too much. And then if it happens next time, I think my perspective on this best of 7 is going to change a little depending on the usage. But I was excited that like it seemed like it was going to be part of the story, but then I kind of soured on me pretty quick. But we'll see. They're still having good matches. I'm still interested as of right now, but yeah, I think they're gonna have to get creative with the next one because I can't remember too much of the last one besides the hammer business. So that seems kind of bad for me at least, but we'll see.
It was for me. I mean, the match was really good, obviously, but the bit when Penta had the hammer, and Ray Phoenix stopped him and they argued. I was like, good lord, man! Like, can they not have a meeting or something about this? I mean, it's been 3 fucking matches of this shit, I mean, they've been arguing about the hammer in general for 2 months now.
well,
I mean, grow up. Can we discuss it off the air? You know what I mean? It's a fucking hammer.
It's a delicate conversation, Joe.
Listen, Doc Gallows, shout out to him. He used the fucking hammer in the Aces and Eights. No one ever got mad at him about it. They encouraged him. That's what he liked to do with a hammer. I mean, if they like using the hammer, let them use the hammer. But Ray Phoenix used the hammer 2 matches ago, and he's still whining that everyone else wants to use it. You used it, Ray. It's all fair game, though. Penta's riding it between his fucking legs and shit. You seeing this, Dukes? He's got it in between his legs. He's got that kind of skirt thing on his trunks. I mean, it's outrageous. What's going on out there? I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
So. He's a hypocrite.
I can do that.
He's a hypocrite, Dukes. Where do you stand on this?
I don't really care, to be honest. But
the officiating, Dukes.
It's Rick Knox. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Oh, fuck.
Well, the real payoff is when FTR wins the World Tag Team titles, and then at Revolution, Rick Knox quick counts the FTR, and the Young Bucks steal it from him.
Oh, Jim Ross goes insane.
and then at Double or Nothing, FTR valiantly fight back because they spike pile drive Rick Knox in the build, so he can't officiate the match.
Rick Knox quick counts and Jim Ross stands out. The people goes, "I told you this motherfucker was in on the take."
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Hey, Jim, it's work, bro.
He was in their pocket the whole time."
Yeah, factual. I think in match 7 they should have a different referee, and one of the announcers, ideally Taz, should be like, "Oh my god, they're going to officiate this one."
That'd be fun.
In all seriousness, the match is very good. It's just the hammer pops me because it's like them arguing about it again. I was like, oh, "Come on, guys, reach a conclusion on this." But match is very fun. They had the wild brawl element. It certainly was different. I think they've done a remarkable job of giving each of them their own personality. That will get harder, obviously, as we go, right? It'll be interesting where they go from here. Gut feeling, Tope. Are we going 3-1 next week, or are we tying it up at 2-2? What do you think?
I think they tie it up.
Whoa. Tying it up. Chris, what do you think? Tying it up or 3-1?
3-1. 3-1. They didn't want to do a sweep because obviously optics, but
Yeah, I got you. Dukes.
I hope they tie it up. I think they'll do the 3-1, and they're gonna make the joke. Death Triangle Blue 3-1 lead.
It's unfortunate.
About 6 years too late, but they'll do it.
I have no problem with
Wrestling.
that on screen. My concern is the AEW social media accounts.
Well,
Tweeting
those-
lots of Kyrie Irving 2016 imagery and make us everyone uncomfortable.
Fair.
Remember when Kyrie hit the shot? I'm like, yeah, we remember. We can't fucking forget it. We remember it. It's like that's my concern, really. But fair enough. We'll see. We will let it play out. Enough about the hammer. The only criticism I saw kind of across the board for Dynamite this week, again, before we get to the vibe rater, the only thing I saw everyone kind of agree on was like, man, Ricky Starks. Can we give him something a little more interesting? He's headed towards the world's title match. For a guy that popular, for a guy everyone's that, into generally, he should feel different headed into his big time title match, shouldn't it, Dukes? He just feels like an afterthought right now. What do you think?
Yeah, like when they announced the Ari Daivari match, a couple people were like, "Oh man, I wish he had more." And I was like, "He'll probably cut a promo after. It'll be like a 10-second match." And then there was more Ethan Page stuff, and
Yeah.
it was unfortunate. I hope they have a segment next week.
So he's in the Battle Royal this week, right? This coming week.
Oh fuck.
That's the bit that alarmed me most. Yeah, like he announced he's in that because he wants to take the ring.
Yeah.
So that would mean you'd believe anyway, you assume he's not going to do a segment with Max. It's like,
That sucks.
Well, isn't Max in the finals of that?
I don't know how that works.
I
have no
idea
idea.
how it works.
I noticed they had like the MJF banners and it popped me, but I don't actually know what it means. If someone in the chat could explain it, how this works, please do, because I have no idea.
I was under the impression that whoever wins it has to have a match with MJF for it. But
So
again,
would that mean
that's
that,
again, that's just what I was under the
No,
impression.
you're right. So that would mean the assumption would be that Max. So Ricky's going to win the Battle Royal, and then winner is going to be like a two. He's going to win the belt and the ring. Would be the idea if he beat him. I would guess, right? I think they're going to do two matches.
Unless Sean Dean wins it.
True.
Oh, yeah. I mean, unless yes.
He has a win.
Storytelling there.
Yeah. I don't know. Either way, it would suggest there's probably going to be like a big promo segment.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks if you ask
Unless
me.
Max comes out like after the Battle Royal.
Yeah, you could do that. The Battle Royal graphic is
Hilarious.
unbelievable.
So
One of the craziest things they've produced. Like, why? Matt Hardy's on it.
all the stars are here.
You really didn't
That's
need
the
to
energy
include the
thing.
people.
Yeah. Fair. Would have been more interesting if they didn't. Yeah, I don't know where they're headed in terms of the Battle Royal, and if it's just going to be like for both or whatever. But Chris, how do you feel about where Ricky kind of stands on TV right now?
I like that he's being given this opportunity as presumably, he's going to be Max's first defense. So that's cool. I've been wanting Ricky to do something important for a while. I want more segments that are MJF tailored and not Ethan Page, Matt Hardy tailored in the future.
Yeah.
That's a big one for me. I was most excited, and I think most people are most excited for this feud because of the promos, and then the first thing we get being the Ethan Page business, kind of like put a weird taste in my mouth. Didn't love that. I mean, I was fine with the squash and then the promo because it that's what it was going to be. But I wasn't a huge fan of that part. At least I want more MJF Ricky stuff because, but like by the looks of it right now, I mean, obviously, for us, it's like Max is gonna win. He's just at the beginning of his run, but like I want to at least have it feel like okay, there's something here as opposed to it being kind of cold where it is now a little.
Yeah. It should feel like a big deal at least.
Right.
Even from the perspective of like, these are two guys that in theory should be two of their top guys for the years to come. It should feel big on that front, even if we know the result of it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Tope, what do you think? Where are you at on all of this business?
Yeah, it definitely feels like this is kind of like his like sink or swim time, and like while he is definitely not sinking, you would hope that like he's definitely not being booked in a way that like I'm sorry, but no one cared about that match this past
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Like if you can give him a little bit more, I think he's gonna do that much more of what you give him. It's just frustrating that they're not giving him more.
Absolutely. Right, folks, it's time. We don't have a graphic or an intro video yet, but we've concluded our Dynamite topics, which means that it's time now to pair these opinions with some imagery, some graphics. And so, without further ado, it is the official Vibrator. Here we go, folks.
Glorious.
Now, I see immediately many segments. I referred to this before we went on the air. Tope, you told me the word you used was you were bullied into adding more segments. This looks like a television script down the bottom here. I mean, this is outrageous. Tope, how did this come to be? Why are there so many segments on hour one of this AEW Dynamite Vibe Rater?
This is a very special week in that no segment had a very consistent vibe. There were many different vibes within the segments, so we had to try to capture that.
Fair. Okay, so we kind of covered some of this stuff. Like, goes without saying, the first block of the program is great, right? You got Mox, you got the Hanger return. Bryan and Dax have a great match. Everything's fine. I do notice, though, fellas, we're just about Ricky Starks there. While not a bad rating by any means, just shy of good vibes, the Ricky Starks promo, a pretty considerable drop off. Was that a result of the content of the promo, the delivery of the promo?
It was a little confusing.
Yeah. Well, clearly I didn't know what the fuck was going on. That makes sense.
But it wasn't long enough for it to be like bad. It was like 30 seconds. So
yeah, it wasn't mid either. You know.
Exactly.
It was still pops, right?
Yeah, because Ricky Starks was there.
We then skyrocket back to the top with the backstage assault.
Exclamation!
And at this point, I don't know how long you guys have been tracking this, but at this point, this is one of the best episodes in the history of the show. I mean, geez, look at this.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is absolutely rocking.
An all-time 30 minutes.
Yes. And now this segment was kind of divisive. I'm intrigued. You guys obviously were closer to where I was at on it. We plummet some, unfortunately, with the Blackpool Combat Club, JAS business, Paul Renee doing the 150th segment between these fellas. Did the vibes drop because you're tired of seeing this, or did you not like I didn't particularly like the way this was done, unfortunately. Where did you guys stand on that? Go, Chris.
Definitely both. The editing was very bad. Horrendous. Claudio just disappeared. Not ideal because time doesn't work like that. But yeah, mix of both. Like this, they've interacted with each other so much. I get that they're playing out like the cracks in the BCC thing, which is confusing on its own now with what we know about Regal. But it's just like I really don't have interest in seeing these people on screen together anymore. I would like, I like most of these ingredients individually, but I would like for TK to make a different meal with them.
Tremendous. Hear that, folks? What a pro. That's great stuff. Okay. I have some issues here. Now, are we really saying that Sam Joe and AR Fox was not good vibes? Like, it felt like real good vibes to me. I had a really good time.
It's the momentum, Joe.
Oh, of course.
The momentum was lost with the long, weird promo.
Fuck. So you're telling me that if this thing followed the backstage assault, we'd be fucking rolling?
Yes. We'd probably be above good vibes, to be honest.
We'd be
that's actually really true.
See, I don't know how the boys can stomach that kind of. That's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow for AR Fox,
I'm sorry.
All right.
He was great.
He did. Still, good vibes. Then, now this will be controversial. The post-match promo here it goes up from the match. Did you fellas simply pretend Wardlow didn't cut a promo and only counted Joe's for the sake of the... Yes?
That is exactly what I did. I'm going to be honest. that is mostly my fault because when we were discussing this, like the general consensus was like that was terrible, and I was like, "Hey guys, but remember when Joe looked around?" And then it was like we have to raise that just a little bit.
Yeah, he
Alright.
did call himself the king of television also.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
that too. That too. That was brilliant.
He was
Okay.
also like extremely tired when he started talking. It was so
Yes.
funny.
He was.
That's why, Joe, you got to remember when you're looking at, what it says there next to TNT Joe versus Fox, there's no mention of Wardlow. It just says post-match promo.
Yeah. Probably for the best on this particular week. I understand.
I heard he was on
Um,
mushrooms.
I heard the same thing. Shout out Bob O'Neill. That piece of shit. All right. We then leap ahead here. Back above good vibes. The Book of Hobbs continued. Some fellas were very scared of old Willie, as JR calls him. From what I could gather, we ended while he was headed to get a haircut.
Yes.
This it'll work for you fellas. I mean, this is a nice climb here for the Book of Hobbs. Where we're at on this.
I'm very high on it. We've been discussing this type of thing for very long.
Yeah.
Except the only difference with our booking of it was Tony Schiavone was driving around with him in a van. But this is also good.
In a van.
Yeah.
All right.
Not the van.
Yeah, well, now I wish that was what they did. Okay, fair. People generally love technique with Taz, but you fellas didn't seem to.
All right, this is the great yellow-orange
oh,
debate.
I was so mad.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. I remember. All right, explain this fucking ridiculous conversation.
There was a fucking argument about whether the screen was yellow or orange.
It was yellow.
Who
by the way.
cares?
It was yellow. It was yellow.
Okay, hold on, wait. But
Well, my point was that it's Taz. It's orange. Taz is orange. That's the thing.
okay, I would like to clarify. Yes, that may be a small reason why it's
That
like
was
that,
good.
but the bigger reason why there's a drop is because it just happened. And I know that we're supposed to assume that it's techniques with Taz, but like he just starts talking, and then I was confused because I'm there like 10 seconds ago, and I'm like, is this like a package that they're doing,
Yeah, it was weird.
or is this like is he gonna tell us what's
Mhm.
whatever? That was kind of just me, but yes, the yellow orange debate was a lot.
So stupid.
I was making it, and I said, someone go back and see. And if it's orange, it goes up 0.25, and if it's yellow, it goes down.
Yeah, that's true. It did happen.
Now, this is the thing, folks, about momentum. That one disagreement sends the show into absolute free fall.
Okay, hold on. Also,
Hang on. There's another
you gotta
reason for
remember.
that,
You gotta
too.
remember. We're coming off the Wardlow thing, right?
Oh, yes.
And then
yeah.
Book of Hobbs, right, which is like a pre-tape, and then we go such a weird spot for technique with Taz. Like if this was anywhere else, obviously the yellow orange thing is still a discussion, so we need to take that into account. But also, like just the way it was like nothing, and then another thing that isn't a match was strange for me.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Here we go. And now we really walk into the streets of Gotham City because I now see Burberry Belt Strikes Back Part 1. This segment is just above mid, which is fitting. And then it plummets here for Part 2 as we reach Pop, but bad. Can you please decipher for me what part of this was?
Yeah.
When did Part 1 end? When did Part 2 begin?
Part
When I
1
got
ends
bored.
right after MJF does the thing about all the baby faces.
Oh, good. Yes.
Because he brought up Eddie Kingston and they chanted Eddie. He said Ricky
Yeah.
Starks was a fake star, and then they chanted Ricky. And then he just kept fucking talking
Yes.
about nothing.
He did like 8 closing lines.
So
And here's the biggest thing, folks. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. This is the rule. This is universal. It's well established in the wrestling playbook. If multiple proponents of the segment say it was supposed to be bad, over, finished, out of here, done. It's over. You can't come back from that. That's the end. However, we do all agree the attack on Regal was fucking great.
Yes.
That skyrocketed here, well above good vibes, on its way actually to being impeccable, which it says a lot considering where we started. So, was it worthwhile, lads?
If you cut out like the middle 10 minutes, then yeah, I'd say it was Good.
The middle 10 minutes is crazy. Okay, fair. All
Yeah,
right, let's move to.
I'm going to do that wrestling fan thing and say that like what I'm going to remember it for is the Regal attack thing. So at the end of the day,
Yeah.
good job, but it very much got lost.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move to our 2 here. Oh my god. All right, the Regal stretcher job. We continue on consistently. That was very well done. Regal did the Family Guy sell. Good stuff all around. Ricky Starks is struggling here on this vibrator.
None of it is his fault.
Exactly. That's what needs to be stressed.
It hurts me.
Yeah. It's just people are going to track this stuff, man. I mean, it's hard,
Well, you should send it to Tony.
I have. Jamie Hater Pro. This did a fucking good number for you fellas. You all right over there? What was this segment? I've forgotten what it was.
Well, Jamie Hater was on the screen.
Facts.
Okay, I forgot how that works around here. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we go out here. Then Willow's entrance. Now we can all agree on that, right?
Yes.
I mean that's just universe as a rule. That is just fucking awesome. Taz also does the thing where he kind of sings it, which is always good.
Yes. Oh my god, I love that.
That is really the definition.
What was it that it said on the screen for Willow's entrance?
Nothing matters. Smile anyway.
One of the most insane quotes ever.
Fucking rules.
Fucking, they're gonna make it into like a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And it could actually sell if they didn't wrestling it, but they're absolutely gonna wrestle it with some fucking horrific backed, crest on it. It's gonna be.
And it's gonna have the AEW logo like right underneath it.
Absolutely.
Only sold in black.
Fucking logo on the back. Oh
yeah, it would be in black. You're right. Black shirt. Here you go. All right. Anyway, lads, this is a little aggressive. Look at this.
This is like the definition of this ranking. Pop, but bad.
Yeah,
Pop is Willow and everything that she did. The bad is Anna Jay.
Did you think this match was bad, really, lads? I didn't think
it
was
bad.
Pop,
but
I thought it was fine.
This was a big drop off. Sky Blue's match last week rated much more prominently on the.
He's a better wrestler.
Sky Blue versus Anna Jay. Come on, Joe.
Well, okay. I'm just trying to pick some holes in this here.
A
little aggressive.
I'll take the blame. I'll take the blame for this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good job, Chris.
I'm very, anti a certain person in this match. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've said what I've said. I talked about her a lot on the 24-hour stream too, but it just it bothers me, and the AEW social media people bother me when they post the two really bad parts of every Anna Jay match, which is that heel kick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Willow. I love Willow so much, but Anna Jay, man.
Have you considered that it's supposed to be bad?
2 in a row.
That's the heat. The heat is actually sucks.
We have here up next. We have Go Birds. Ruby Soho. What the fuck does that mean?
I don't know what Go Birds means. I'm assuming it's because she had green hair.
Correct.
Okay.
But also, Ruby Soho's back. She fucking rules. I won't hear anything about it.
I'm with you on this. I actually would have gone higher, guys. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, not everyone was as big of a fan. But this is the last time we're doing it with the entire committee and the entire fucking Discord.
Oh wow! They've lost the keys already.
This is and it's not. I want to clarify. I think it's more our fault.
It's not their issue.
It's not you guys. It's us. There's too many voices is the problem, and it's hard to get on track is our issue. So I think we're gonna do it. I don't know when. Now that's a more behind the scenes.
We'll figure
it out. But there's too much discussion, and then the discussion branches out into other discussions, and then that kind of harms the vibes of the segment. Like sometimes I'll be, and that's what's important. That's what this all circles back to. Sometimes I'll be lower on the vibes, not because of how I felt during the show, but how the Discord made me feel about it.
Yeah, it's bad.
And I think that harms my that harms the integrity of the vibrator. I'll say.
Okay, I understand.
Mhm.
And if
Yeah,
there's
like the
anything
whole
with
Dax
that-
Dragon match led to like
Mhm.
a 20-minute interruption of the vibrating to talk
Oh,
about, Dax Harwood's Twitter, and then
yeah. Have
I
you
was like,
heard
what
he's
are we
won the
doing?
Wrestler of the Year award? Did you hear about that?
I did mention that, but
Yeah.
they weren't happy.
Good stuff. Congratulations to him. All right. Jade and the Baddies here up next. We have a little increase.
Yes.
I saw some different. I think Jade did a really good job with this segment. In all seriousness,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she had a grenade waiting for her at the end of it. She could not get out of the way of. Here he is, Bow Wow, the lowest element of the program. Jeff Jarrett was not on this show.
No.
This registered in the apt term here of shits. This was the whole thing. Hang on, hasn't that changed? Wasn't the bottom one? Dukes, you said this, right? Didn't you explain this to
No,
me? The bottom was previously ruined the whole show. Wasn't that the deal?
Well, that was
That's
only
negative.
that was just for Jeff.
Oh, okay.
240p Bow Wow made me laugh enough that it didn't ruin the show.
That's
It was just
fair.
the shits. That's fair. That's fair enough. Look, there's no point doing it. The stuff fucking sucks, right? I don't know what we're doing here. I have no
It
idea
was
why
like-
they're doing it.
TMZ, brother.
Is this gonna lead to like is this gonna lead to a Jade just like squash? Like is she right? Like is that
I have no idea.
That would be
I
so
think
funny.
I think Bow Wow said he had backup, and
He
it's,
did.
it's
fuck
gonna
that,
be like,
dude?
it's gonna be Kiera Hogan, which is like good for Kiera Hogan, but like, come on.
But that
I don't
doesn't
even know if
elevate
it
her
is,
at
though.
all.
I don't know if it is Kira because she's in the trios next week. Did you see that?
Oh, that's true.
Do Jade versus Bow Wow. Have her fucking
That
deck
would-
him.
that's
Do
the only way
30
they could save it.
seconds. That is
Yeah.
how. That's
If
it.
Jade
And I don't even know if
kicks
that.
Bow Wow, I'm
Right.
That'd be good,
That's
yeah.
all you
If-
need.
If Jade just babies Bow Wow, that would
Yeah.
be so fucking funny.
And I feel like it'd be good enough of a sport to be like, let's fucking do it. You know what I'm
Fucking
saying?
better be. Probably should be at this point in the game. But I agree with you. Yes, we need something. Up next, we have the segment in which wrestling observer Dave Meltzer claimed the Acclaim were being robots. You fellas listed it as Acclaim nonsense. It came in not particularly high. Again, this is a case of momentum, I assume, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
only the Acclaimed could drag the vibes back up
Yeah.
this high and get them back on the right track.
I wonder if Tony knew that when he's putting the show together. I wonder.
No,
Be
probably not.
interesting. Doesn't strike me as a vibes kind of guy, frankly.
No.
He's
Would have picked Orange then.
there you go. We then skyrocket here, almost to the very top, for the elite Death Triangle entrances before slightly falling off, but still a very solid, good vibes for the main event. Anything on those last two guys that we should keep in mind?
Yeah,
Matt
I think.
Jackson has saved his legacy. He is not a Guangdong Tiger. He will remain on the elite moving into game 4.
Very true. I think immediately you have to, with us at least, carry on Wayward Son, and the Death Triangle entrance will always be very high up on our
Yeah.
vibrator. That's that. I mean, yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, tremendous stuff, boys. Great as always, the vibrator. Adding just a different side to wrestling analysis. You gotta love it. Okay, let's move on here very briefly to Rampage, the show that you've been waiting on. Dukes, we were talking a little bit before we went on the air here. This ended with some House of Black business, which I think was the headline from the program. More specifically, some Ortiz Law.
Lord Tease.
Now, I'm glad House of Black were on this week because I was kind of concerned they were just going to do that tiny little thing, that recut on Dynamite, and that was it. So, good use of Rampage. These fellas, if nothing else, look awesome beating a bunch of dudes up. Buddy's fucking massacring people since he came back. It's kind of vicious, kind of violent, but, graps. Dukes, what do you make of this Ortiz business?
I have no idea because Malachi was like, no, don't pile drive him. Not yet. And then, like, when they got out of the ring to, jump the rest of the people, he just kicked Ortiz in the chest. So, like, I don't know.
The Mad King Eddie Kingston fit into this somewhere, do we think, boys?
It could be. That is a fucking awesome feud. Actually, I haven't even thought of that.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Eddie Kingston was Brody King.
Yeah, well, there's a few matches there, brother, Eddie brings in poor fucking Homicide and his shoulders all taped up and gets the shit kicked out of him. Homicide versus Bud Matt on Rampage in segment 2. It's the kind of thing I'm
200
talking about.
bucks.
Chris, what are you thinking? You seemed intrigued by this Eddie Kingston possibility.
Yes, very. I like that a lot. I like that so much. I like every match that he could have in that feud.
Yeah, rules.
That is what I want now. I was very confused where this was headed, but this is what I want. That's wow.
This is actually the
Whoa.
right thing, to be clear. Because Homicide's, bless him. Takeshita would be great, yeah. Takeshita, Ortiz, and Eddie versus the House of Black. And then you do Takeshita and Bud Matt, which is insane match.
Oh, God.
That's some good shit right there. There was some news this week. Let me do the graphic here, folks. There was some news this week. Increasing moves have been made to officially register Cole Carter as a hooper of sorts. Manny was very loud on this front, and then there was a few group chat messages sent. There is a kind of increasing momentum that Cole Carter may in fact be a legitimate professional wrestler. Chris, what do you make of this? I mean, this seems a little bit controversial if you ask me. I don't know.
Yeah, I think people need to stop. Like it's not these wrestlers' faults sometimes that they're put in the positions that they're put in.
Mhm.
So when you're blaming the wrestlers for being on Rampage when you think they shouldn't be on Rampage, or blaming,
Mm.
I feel like sometimes you can blame them for things that are not their fault, but someone else's fault.
Yeah.
And I think some of them do really well with the spots that they're given. And I think that it was harmless.
Yeah.
It was, I might say, good. Yeah, I think it's all
Now,
right.
it was good. Not just pop, but bad. It was good.
Mhm.
All right. I like it. Tope, did you get to see this match? If not, just make up a hot take regarding Cole Carter.
Yeah, the 5 stars.
Good.
Just
Very
the best, potentially my match of the year, I think.
Yeah. Manny did say similar to me in the DM, so I understand. Jeff Jarrett, folks.
Where?
I have to say, I did not think he'd be wrestling Private Party at any point in 2022. He looks great out there. Dukes, are you any closer to pretending this is good like I am?
No, but when his music did hit in the segment, that was good because he's got
Yeah.
good music. But
And
on the Cole Carter thing,
Oh,
I'm not anti Cole Carter being a hooper, but I would like to see him wrestle someone that doesn't just always have good matches. Like he wrestled Darby Allin, all of his matches are good.
yeah.
So I
All
think
right.
we need to put him a little bit, different test.
Yeah, I remember nothing about this match. I absolutely watched it, which is me. It was great that because it was in the middle of a segment, there was only time for the start of Jeff's theme.
Mhm.
So you only got the Bree-Roo and all that stuff, So he just came out with the guitar and was like, "You motherfucker," and then there was someone else's music here.
Yeah, FTR.
Yeah, they're pretty good. We'll get to that in a moment. So
I love the way they just walk past everybody.
yes, it
Walk
rolled.
right through them. Don't matter.
Dax needs to fight Jeff Jarrett on Rampage. Yeah, Jeff Jarrett's good. I'm glad to see that he's, chartings on the vibrator will be getting better. I'm happy to hear that. Nonetheless, let's look ahead to next week, boys. Rampage is, is what it is. Next week, we have 2 big matches. And stick with the FTR acclaim business for now. Tag titles. We've been waiting a long time for the FTR tag title match. It's just happening next week. I guess it's been a thing that's kind of been built to in the sense there've been a couple of interactions with the acclaim. They had the handshake deal, and the next week does feel awful early though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's the week of Final Battle. Some kind of shenanigans are up here, right? Like they're going to set up some kind of pay-per-view match for FTR first and foremost. Tope, what do you assume we're going to get with the acclaim versus FTR? And what I believe is their first ever meeting, which is the part of it that kind of bums me out because I could have saved this for another day. But nonetheless, I like them being aggressive. Tope, what do you think is the likely outcome here with acclaimed FTR?
Like you said, I feel like it has to have some kind of either a screwy finish or a distraction or just something to set up what I assume is the gun match at Final Battle.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is gonna have like double run in here. I think you're gonna have like Jeff and fucking Jay in there. I mean, you're gonna have the Gun Club, and by the end of it, it'll be those two programs are gonna go their own way, and then we'll get back to this Revolution perhaps. It should be a hot TV match, if nothing else. Chris, how do you feel about them like going straight to this tag title match? Again, I don't want to criticize. I want Tony Khan to be more aggressive, but it did feel jarring when the graphic came up. I have to be honest.
Yeah, I had to kind of do a double take to make sure.
Yeah,
I think they've very much telegraphed this as a Gun Club interference thing.
yeah,
Um, setting that up for final battle. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good TV match. I'm sure vibes. This is going to be one that we're going to have to cut up the vibes on.
good call.
Because I'm sure the match will be good, and then I'll probably not like the ending because it's going to be Gun Club interference.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what you have to do in this situation. Again,
Yeah,
whether you book it or not is different in terms of the
Mhm.
match. But yeah, it's just weird that we've had this discussion of like FTR should get a title match, and then in the point where it looks like they're least,
yeah.
in that position, that they get one. But
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a weird one. Dukes, where do you stand on all this?
The same way. The match will be good, but instead of the two teams or the two sets of teams going their separate ways, the Acclaim just do anything else that's not related to Jeff Jarrett.
Well,
And at Final Battle, we get FTR, the Ass Boys, Jeff Jarrett, and Jay Lethal in a ladder war.
that's very good, actually. I can't argue with that. I feel like we can get both, but I understand. Samoa Joe and Darby Allin is a crazy match.
Oh yeah.
So now this to me is one where when I see the complaints about no story, I'm like, come on, man. It's the TNT title. This is what this belt is about in a lot of ways. This is the kind of match that I think Tony should be ready to like let fly more often.
I agree.
Look, this is just the reality of the situation. It could backfire on me, but it's the truth. If you were to create a wrestler for Samoa Joe Wrestling in 2022, it's Darby Allin. He makes all of the movement for the guys he's in there with. He takes crazy bumps, and he has good enough offense that Joe can sell through it without looking like shit. By good enough, I mean more than good enough. He has great offense. This feels like a perfect match. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to be a 5-star match. I think they're probably going to go like 12 minutes, and it'll be just a blast, would be my assumption. I'm really excited for this. Tope, what does this do for you? Darby, Samoa Joe, TNT title, you in?
Oh yeah, I mean Darby does the best version of my name.
He does.
So, but yeah, I mean, as you said, like it's a perfect matchup for Joe. Like obviously it's gonna end in a coffin drop attempt into like the coquina clutch or whatever, but like it's gonna be an amazing 10-12 minutes. So
Yeah. Also, I mean, the walkaway Joe spot feels like this one could be because Darby's nuts. He may do like the dive just onto fucking nothing, which could be an incredible visual. Chris, you into this kind of booking? Some Darby Allin, Samoa Joe for the fun of it. What do you think?
Absolutely, and I think that this was a big example of like what Duke's Tope and I kind of talked about this after Rampage, but like this show was very segment heavy in a good way.
Yeah.
That like all the segments hit, and then the matches were like okay to decent. But yeah, I love the segment and I love the match for the for the reason that you guys kind of laid out there. I think Darby's insane, and I think Joe is gonna love how insane Darby is.
Yeah.
And that's gonna make for like a very, if nothing else, entertaining match. So I'm really excited.
Feels like it's locked to be like a hoot, like at the very least, right, Dukes?
Yeah.
This is going to be fun, I think, if nothing else.
Yeah, easily. Darby Allin has good matches with everybody. Samoa Joe is Samoa Joe, and he's just the coolest motherfucker ever. So
True. I've heard that.
It's gonna be fun.
All right, let's round over a couple last things here. You guys mentioned segments on Rampage. We've got some Shane Taylor. That was a fun surprise, right?
Yes.
I like the idea of sprinkling those things in Rampage because it gives you the idea that the match might not pop you, but maybe they'll do something kind of interesting. And it's not like they blew anything because look, bless Shane, but I don't think anyone that watches Dynamite would be like, wait, I missed out on this. The audience watches Rampages who would be roughly aware of Shane Taylor anyway. They're going to do a tag, right? It appears at Final Battle was what they said, right? It's going to be Do we know if it's Shane and O'Shea Edwards? Who do we know he's partnering team with, or just
He said, but I don't remember who. Someone can.
chat? If you can help us out on that, please do. The other one with Final Battle was the insane Juice Robinson just being like, I want to fight Samoa Joe. Like, I guess, man. Like, I guess Joe are they going to do a thing where like Joe's like a babyface in Ring of Honor? Because like Juice did not strike me as a babyface promo. What Juice did here,
No.
but I guess who gives a fuck, right?
It was just kind of a promo anyway. It wasn't really.
Shades of grey.
You know the very popular meme among you kids, the what was he cooking thing? You know that deal
Yes,
you guys
I've
all are
heard.
posting? This match is bizarre. Like the Tony's definitely got like a specific vision for this that he thinks is going to be good. JD Griffey. I don't know. I'm familiar with that fella. Well, there you go. I don't know. I have no idea what a Juice Robinson Mojo match looks like. I kind of doubt it's particularly good, but Tony does some weird shit sometimes, man. Maybe now we have Athena and Mercedes, which I am like actually probably the match I'm most into right now. Overall, where are we at on Final Battle? Tope, where do you stand on this one? It's an afternoon show, a lot of rematches. What do you think? Where are you at on Final Battle as of 6 days before?
I'm not necessarily like super looking forward to anything, but
Yeah.
I'll watch and I'll most likely have fun watching. So
Yeah, it'll be a good time, but there's nothing like really got your attention. I understand that. Chris, you in a similar spot with Final Battle?
Exact same, yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. It's fascinating they put so much TV time towards Ring of Honor, and this is where they've ended up for the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It's a weird spot to be in, right, Dukes?
Yeah, no Kenta either. Very disappointed.
Let it play out. That's the kind of thing I went out on like a Thursday afternoon. Folks, Bryan Danielson and Kent are this Saturday. Be all live. That kind of deal.
justified.
The FTR thing, like, is the weirdest part. It's like, you feel like that'd be one of the main things you'd build the pay-per-view around. Like, who are FTR going to fight? It's like, probably just giving a match to the Gun Club. It's weird. We will let it play out. Next week, we'll cover it here on this very program. Finally, one last topic. The Natural. Dustin Rhodes announced, Blizzard Brawl, I believe it was, that 2023 will be his final year in professional wrestling. We all love Dustin in this circle, right? I know I see you guys tweet about Dustin a lot. Pops me very much. I thought it would be fun to close with just go around the room and get a couple cool. I got to see it before he hangs them up. Dustin Rhodes matches. Dukes, first name that comes to mind. Dustin Rhodes versus whom?
I think it's pretty obvious who I'm going to say. Hangman Adam Page. New Cowboy versus old Cowboy. Just works.
That's awesome. That's fucking awesome. Gotta happen. Chris, what are you thinking? What's a good match for Hangman here? For Dustin, sorry, the final year.
He said it, but it's Hangman. It's so Hangman.
Yeah.
It's yeah, that's it. I'm so I want that so bad.
I understand. Tope, you got a different one, perhaps?
Maxwell Jacob Freeman.
Probably really good, yeah.
Oh. You could do like a
goes
Cody
out.
tie in there too, kinda, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
His final match is for the belt.
That could be something. That'd be good drama.
Interesting.
Yeah. Although I will say I would be tempted to do it along the way and have his final. I genuinely think Tony may try to do the NWA title thing. Like, I think that's a real thing he's going to try to pull off for him. They always run Texas in December, right? Like they do this year. I mean, fuck, they're on like every week, aren't they?
Yeah.
So the idea that next December, when he's his last month, you could do like a TV in wherever in Texas, and fucking Dustin can get himself the NWA belt on TV. Like, that's where I would shoot, but that would be working better if in like May he wrestles Max, right, and loses again for the big one. That's really good shit. I like that a lot. Shining Full says Dustin versus Tanahashi, which is like awesome. Dustin Switchblade's good. I didn't see King and Dustin.
Oh yeah.
Dax and Dustin.
Mm.
I don't even know if they've locked up. It might not say it in the Fed actually. I bet there's like a revival fucking R-Truth Goldust match that's out there somewhere. I'll watch after this. So there's a bunch of like cool ones. I just hope we get like some of this story on TV. I know it's really hard, but let's be honest. There's much weirder shit on Rampage. Fucking Jeff Jarrett's on TV all the time. Give us like a monthly Dustin check-in, you know? Give us a monthly weird Dustin match where he's like real bummed out and he's trying his best. And still one of my favorite matches of the year, boys, is that one with Punk. It was just fucking
It's so
awesome.
good.
Yeah, it was such a great match. So shout out to Dustin, one of the absolute best. And hopefully he has a strong final year in ring here.
Okay,
2024.
wait, I have something.
Oh.
Uh,
Oh. What do we have here?
Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood versus Chuck Taylor and Trent versus Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall versus Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson. It was a gauntlet match.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I believe that is the one that Hangman screwed the Bucks in.
Yeah.
So I'm not
did
sure
they-
if they're locked up,
I don't
but
think
there's
so.
a possibility.
I don't think
Supposed
they
to be
did.
done.
Interesting. All right.
How do you think Tony's gonna make sure that it is special though? Like he's gonna give us a lot of those.
Yeah, Tony's a big fan of Dustin. Like a real
Did you know
big
they
fan.
call him the Natural?
Natural as can
I
be.
heard.
Right? Great, all-time great thing, by the way. All-timer. He thinks it fucking sucks, which makes it better. Because it does suck. I mean, it's a terrible song. That's why it's a great theme, you know? He's the son of a son. He's the son of a gun. Is an incredible fucking lyric. That's impeccable vibes, folks. For us, you know, for us old timers, it's good shit. All right,
Bobby
there you
Vibes.
go, boys. Fleet Week in the books. The whole team on the air at once. They said it couldn't happen. It did. The StreamYard did not explode. The vibrator flowed as usual. Tope, any final thoughts, plugs, promotions, so on and so forth?
No, not really. I mean,
No?
follow the late night grin.
Mm.
Pay $1. Do that.
My God, team player. I like it. Chris, any final words?
Yeah, same. Follow me on Twitter if you want to. If not, that's cool. It's probably for the best. Keep tuning in. Hopefully, keep supporting us. We have a lot of fun doing this. And yeah, just thank you to everybody that showed up on Thursday night, Friday. We had a lot of fun. And if you donated, that's even better. So, thank you.
It was a hell of a time. This would be a hell of a time. Dustin
Oh
Rhodes and
my.
Minoru Suzuki.
Oh my.
Oh my goodness. It's such a weird styles clash too. It's
Dustin like unzips the bodysuit. He's like, hit me.
Dustin's probably like fucking 10 inches taller than him too. Dukes, any final thoughts?
No. Watch Fleet Week on Sundays. Good show, I've heard.
I've heard about that, yeah. We have uploaded the segment. It's still up on Twitch, but it will live on the archives forever. Myself, initially Manny was there, and then it was myself, Chris, and Dukes for a bulk of the night there. We got through it. I have no clue what we talked about.
I do. I'm aware.
You are? Well, I'm sorry.
These
Tried our
guys.
best, man. We tried our best. We buried you a few times, I'm pretty sure.
We buried the whole chat at one point.
We did. We started like sending each other private messages and then realized we were live on the air in front of 60 people or whatever it was. It was a little uncomfortable. That's what happens. You're on for 24 hours. You know, these things happen. But go check it out or not. But either way, a big, big day it was for the Young Lions. As I said then, I'll say again, they doubted me, you know. Did you see the responses when I tweeted that tweet about you guys being the future of this platform? You see it? All of them taking their fucking shots, subtweeting across the globe. They said they doubted me again. I saw it in Bob, and if you can see it in Bob, you can see it in anyone. You know what I mean? Like that takes some fucking eye. You know, we figured it out. We know what we're doing here. Future is now. You know the deal. The Young Lions ready to run this place. So there you go, folks. Go check it out. I'm going to upload tomorrow the fourth segment of the Grinathon, which was the backup Hangman section of grins, in which he was at one point John Alba was there, and
yes,
we got the Crosby Hanger fucking 2-man game on Bow Wow, which was interesting. It was something. It was a hell of a ride. So I'm going to upload that tomorrow. No late night green content tomorrow, or probably Tuesday for that. I'm going to do worldwide tomorrow with Montgomery and Manny. I'm told we're doing year-end awards, so I talk about Dax Harwood again. Tuesday, absolutely nothing. And then Wednesday, back on this very platform to watch Dynamite. Joe and Darby, acclaimed FTR. You know the deal, folks. We just talked about. All right. We appreciate you all. Follow all the lads. At Duke's Grin, at My Wrestling Burner. Tope, is there an underscore in there? Tope? Or is it just Tope Suicida?
I think it's underscore Tope Suicide.
There you go, folks. Follow the lads, support them, tell them they're doing a great job, give them some tips on the vibrator. And in the meantime, enjoy this outro. Wow.